Hello, you gorgeous people. How are you? Today I'm talking about some life advice that the emissaries gave me whilst I was out running. I'll share it with you on the other side. So I can't remember how we got into this conversation, but the emissaries were just telling me what you have to do in this life to make sure that good things happen to you. So what they were saying was, all you need to do in life is be true, be kind, treat people well, help others. Yeah? And they said that if you do that, the universe will treat you exactly the same way. Okay? So it's this perfect mathematical formula, which is X equals Y. If you do this, that's what you get. And it's all about being true to yourself. If you're not being true to yourself, and remember, that's expressed in so many ways. Like, I remember when I was talking to my wife about this, when I was younger and I'd come out of the Jehovah's Witness organization and I was really confused and frustrated and angry and everything like that, I behaved in a certain way, and I knew that wasn't who I was. I knew. I treat people in a not a very good way, not a very respectful way, especially to women. And I knew that wasn't who I was. And yet I did it. And I paid the price for that. And that's kind of, I think that's where they were leading to is until you're actually true to who you are, then your behavior is not going to help you to get back that truth, I suppose. It's like truth out, truth in. And so I suffered a series of trouble and calamity in my life because I wasn't being true to who I was. I knew that. I used to look at myself and say, wow, Gordon, you're a bad person because of what you're doing. But on the inside, I knew I wasn't a bad person. Does that make sense? I'm sure many of you can relate to that. I knew I wasn't a bad person, but I could see my actions weren't good. Yeah. So that's what they're saying. If you want the best out of this life, just give the very best, and certainly to other people. But I was thinking, as we had this conversation, I said, well, hang on a minute, because that doesn't work sometimes. What about all of the good people that come to this earth and they do wonderful things and then terrible things happen to them? Okay? Terrible things happen to them. And they said, because that's what they've chosen to do. Now, I know that's an easy answer. It's an easy answer. It's like, yeah, well, all the bad stuff, well, that's what they've chosen to do. And I always looked at that as if to say, yeah, that's a cop-out if ever I saw one. But now, I suppose, where I am, I think it's probably the case. Knowing all of the work that I've done with people in hypnosis and talking to the higher self and all of that, look, we come here with a very, very clear contract and a very clear agenda. And so these people, and there have been many, many people. I mean, let's just think of the key ones. Jesus, for example, came here, did a lovely fella, smashing guy, did a lovely job, and then they killed him. Yeah. And Joan of Arc, burned to death. Yeah. She was a good lady, apparently, if you believe the story. Obviously, this is all if you believe the story. I'll give you an example, a modern day example. There were a couple who started to promote a CURE for just about everything, and it's called GMAF. Yeah, and it's still available on the market, but it was helping too many people. As always, it was helping too many people. They were absolutely attacked for what they did. And finally, they ended up being put into prison, in a French prison, if I understand this rightly. And probably they're still there. Okay? They were helping zillions of people with the big C to sort themselves out. And they were put into prison. Under a premise of stealing money and all of that. These were jolly good people. And I've seen, lots of people have come here and developed something You know, there's another guy in the US. I can't remember his name now. I think he was a Russian, or he's got one of those names like that. And he worked with people with the big C, and he's still working. But they took him to court, took all of his money, took his credentials off him. So we've got these people who come here specifically to do something, and then they get, because they've come here into this coming into this place that has been up to now ruled by the devil, and try and do good. Well, problematic, yeah. So all of these people have come here and chosen to do that on another level. Probably where if you ask them here, they go, chosen this? You've got to be joking. But you know what? It was what the emissary said. Even if they die, even if it all goes horribly, horribly wrong, if you ask them, if they came here again, would they do the same thing? Said most of them would say absolutely. And I think that's the difference. That's how you know that this is bigger than you. When you look back and you say, well, I would have done it anyway. I would have to. I didn't have a choice. This is the feeling that we often have when we know that we are working through our contract. We say, I didn't have a choice. I had to do that. Yeah. And I think all of us are going through that. We know there are places that we just do not have choice. We have to do what we do. We have to speak out when we speak out. We have to make a stand, that we don't have a choice. This is all part of our contract. This is why we've come here. And so everybody, whether they do good or bad or whatever, that's part of the contract. So all that we need to do is be true. All you need to do is to be true. Rhymes, doesn't it? And that means that being true to yourself encapsulates so much. But be true to yourself and get in touch with what you know is your purpose, which is your contract. And just, surrender yourself to why you've come here. Surrender yourself. I think we spend a lot of time fighting. I fought this for a long time. I fought it. I know I wanted to do this. I wanted to do that, knowing I didn't really want to do it, but I did it because there was a part of me that wanted to do it. And then finally you get to a point where you say, oh, fuck it. I'm just going to do what you want me to do. Okay, I'll just be true to myself. Do you know, it's a big job being true to yourself, and that's why we avoid it. It's much easier to pretend. It really is. It's much easier. That's why so many people don't want to wake up. It's much easier to be asleep. It's a big job waking up to yourself and being true to yourself. But boy, is it worth the journey. Is it worth it? Wow. The feeling that you get when you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm okay. I'm who I need to be. That's where we need to get to. So, there you are. That was a conversation. I hope that's helped. And just keep being true to yourself, eh? And so, I love you all, and I'll see you later on.